Summer Institute. Welcome, Summer Institute attendees. It's nice to be here virtually. Wish I could see you in person. Hopefully that happens sometime soon. I hope everyone is enjoying the conference and is enjoying the summer, and that you've been able to get some much needed rest and relaxation. And if that hasn't happened, that you're able to fit that in sometime soon. So my goal today is to provide you with updates from GED Testing Service, updates that we've made in the last year. And basically what I did is I just divided it into 3 different sections, the sections that you see here. First, I'm going to talk about testing updates, then get into additional updates and speak specifically about the updates that we've made to GED Direct. This PowerPoint will be shared with all of you at the end of the presentation. And basically what I'm going to do is go through my slides. It will take about half hour to do that. And then I will take questions afterwards. So let's get started. When it comes to testing updates, I thought it would be good to take a look at what testing was like in 2020. And if we look at the 2020 numbers, we can see that we had just over 3,100 testers. And of those, over 1,800 took all 4 subjects. And then there were just over 1,400 testers who earned their GED. And again, that's in 2020. If we look at 2021, there were over 3,500 testers. Of those, just over 2,000 took all 4 subjects, and just over 1,600 earned their GED last year. So far for 2022, I ran the numbers from January 1st of this year to July 31st. And it's showing that we have over 2,400 testers. So far, just over 1,300 have taken all 4 subjects, and just over 1,000 have earned their GED. And here shows you the 2022 monthly GED test by content. So, I mean, March, April, May, June, just over 1,000 tests delivered. And then within each month, you could see the breakdown, the percentage breakdown by subject. So orange indicates the percentage of math tests, red indicates the percentage of RLA tests given, blue science, and green social studies. And this is what our demographic summary looks like for this year. So this is based on the questions that testers have to answer when they create a GED account, because of course, in order to be able to take a GED test, you have to have a GED account. And there's mandatory scheduling questions, demographic questions that need to be answered. And so based on the responses, you can see that about 42% have indicated that they are white, and then you could see that 19% have indicated that they're African American. You can see the breakdown in terms of gender in the lower left-hand corner. And then over here, down in the bottom right, you can see the age group, that the median is 23 years of age, that 20% of the testers are age 20, and so on and so forth. Now I'm going to move on to the updates section. And the first thing that I wanted to talk to you about is the GED Mentorship and Community Partnership Program. So the recently launched initiatives are focused on supporting learners from historically marginalized communities, and they're a key part of our organization's diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. The GED Mentorship Program specifically is where adult learners are mentored by GED employees. So with the support of us mentors, they're developing their career, their leadership skills, including problem solving, critical thinking, and effective communication. And in addition, learners have a supportive community as they prepare for and take GED Ready practice tests, the actual GED tests, and looking to, I'm not sure what happened there. And we're looking to develop a greater understanding of the testers' backgrounds and their future personal and professional goals. So this program was created to serve learners from all backgrounds, focusing on learners from underserved areas. And so the pilot of this program was launched earlier this year in Montgomery County, Maryland, and will expand nationwide later this year. And moving on to the Community Partnership Program, this is where selected adult learners attending GED preparation programs are provided with access to laptops, tablets, GED Ready tests, GED tests, vouchers, one-on-one online tutoring and online preparation tools, including Aztec software, GED Flash, a tutor for TAE, pre-GED, and GED Kaplan prep series materials. So basically, this came about with GED Testing Service and Aztec software selecting the program's first official partner, which is called Made Men. They're a not-for-profit organization, which is headquartered in Kansas. And the organization offers GED preparation courses, a fatherhood program, life skill courses, workforce training, and it's also an authorized Pearson VUE test center. Launched in late 2021, the GED Community Partnership Program is part of GED Testing Service, DE&I strategy and ongoing commitment to creating equitable opportunities, focusing on historically marginalized, underserved learners, including those from Black and Indigenous communities. And this program, sorry, I'm not sure what's going on here with my screen. This program aims to increase access while investing in community organizations that provide education, training, and other critical services. Moving along, I wanted to give you an update about College Ready and College Ready Plus. This is something that I get asked about quite a bit. So more colleges have adopted to ACE credit recommendations. And right now there's approximately 250 colleges across the US who have implemented one or both of the recommendations for College Ready and or College Ready credit. You see some of the colleges listed on this slide, and there are additional colleges in the states that you see listed at the bottom of the slide. GED Works, a few updates here. So one, we have over 75 employers that are part of the GED Works program. One of the biggest ones in Minnesota is Amazon. We've updated the GED Works part of our website. So you can see some of the employers' logos here, but just as a reminder, or maybe if you're not sure what GED Works is, this is where employers, businesses work with GED Testing Service so that they can provide their employees with access to prep materials. They're the ones that pay for them to take the GED Ready test. They're the ones that pay for them to take the actual GED tests. Again, we did update this part of our website. So here's part of the updated material here. If you know of any businesses that are thinking that they would like to provide this opportunity for their employees, you could direct them to me. You could direct them to this part of the website where they would find more information about that. Also, when it comes to GED Works, we're doing continual research and refinement of that program. So we're looking at student data, we're looking at performance, we're looking at the feedback that we're getting from those that are in the program. And we can see that students who are in a GED Works program are actually more likely to persist to credential, and that more than 70% of the students who take the second test do end up earning their GED. I have a few accommodations updates for you. I'm not sure if you were able to join the session that my colleague Debbie Burkhold led yesterday, but here are some of the updates that I have for you. When it comes to extra time GED Ready for accommodation, so before students who requested accommodations testing, they could get the extra time to take their GED Ready, but they had to call the accommodations team. But now there's no more having to call. We can add that extra time automatically. And then starting next week, there is going to be updated messaging when a student is not approved for accommodated testing. So they're going to see more information than they did before that will give them an idea as to their next steps. You know, it might say something like, even though you haven't been approved, we encourage you to submit additional documentation, that sort of thing. So they'll be able to see more information. And also the system will not allow students to request accommodated testing if they already have a test scheduled where there's no accommodations. So if a student has a test scheduled, there wasn't any accommodations that are supposed to be a part of that, but then they go into the system and they try to request accommodated testing, then they'll get a message that will say, but basically you can't get that for the test that you currently have scheduled, and then they'll be asked whether or not they want to reschedule or cancel that current test and then go through the accommodations process. A few GED Manager updates for you. So most of you that are on the call that have access to GED Manager would have access to the student test activity report. And we made 2 enhancements on that report. So the first is that the test center filter has been added. And the second is that vouchers are now visible on the downloaded report. So if you click on that download spreadsheet, you get that Excel spreadsheet, and then that would show any vouchers that have been used. Also have some GED Direct updates for you, formerly known as GED Ready Direct on GED Manager. So we did update GED Direct to allow GED Manager users to use credit terms, PO process, to purchase GED Readies and other products in the future. There also allows for GED Manager sub-accounts to purchase. So before, only people with, only users with Prep Connect, what we call student authorized view GED Manager access, could purchase vouchers directly from the homepage of GED Manager. We've opened that up to other roles. And we've also updated the system to not allow assignment of GED Ready for a subject that has an active GED Ready. So if you were one of those people whose organization has purchased vouchers through GED Manager and you're about to assign a voucher to a particular tester, well, let's say for them to take the GED Ready RLA test, if they already have a voucher for that, you will get a message telling you that this student already has a voucher for that. We've made updates to GED Analytics. I'm not going to spend time going through all the updates that you see here, just because I know there aren't many people in the state of Minnesota that have this type of access, but wanted to include it in the slide deck here for those of you who do have this access. And of course, those of you who have access to GED Analytics, if you had any specific questions about what you see here, please feel free to reach out to me. You know, after the presentation, you will see my email address at the end if you don't already have it. Moving along, I wanted to let you know about the new newsletter that we have for GED students. So it's called GED Roundup. It's our new quarterly newsletter. It features most up-to-date information for students, tips, information about promotions, and this would go to any of the students, the testers, who had opted into marketing emails from us when they created their account. And even if they had said no when creating their account, they could also go into the edit profile section of their account and change their answer if they are interested in receiving this quarterly newsletter. We have made some updates to OP. And so we had strongly advised from the start that anybody that was interested in taking their test via the OP method, that they take that OP system test link so now there's a way for us to track on our end whether or not a student successfully completes that required system check before their test. And also along the lines of OP, their OP ID exceptions is that we can now grant ID exceptions for on-view students. So these exceptions work the same way as they do for those that are taking tests at a computer-based test center, but the student does need to have an appointment already scheduled so that we can create a case for it to alert the proctor to let them know about this. And just like computer-based test exams, the case will only be valid for the one exam. So additional cases will be needed for the other exams that are scheduled. Okay, and wanted to let you know about our new Spanish prep product that we introduced earlier this spring. It's in partnership with Aztec. And if you wanted more information about this, if you wanted a demo, I can provide you, with a demo of this product. But just like GED Flash and GED Play, you do have the ability to track testers' usage in the different sections of this program and how they're doing on the different exercises. I think this policy change that I'm going to talk to here is something that not everybody knows about. And this is something that we actually introduced in January of this year. So it's the GED Testing Service policy change, the annual reset of that 60-day wait period. And so the former policy is that there is a 60-day wait period after a third failed attempt in a subject for each subsequent retest with no end date. So to simplify that, I think it's best to just look at the example on the screen. So the example is that a student has 3 failed attempts in math in 2016, but then the student decided to start testing again in 2020. So they took the math again, they didn't pass. The student had to wait 60 days until their next attempt, even though those first 3 attempts were in 2016. With the new policy, there's an annual reset of all students who fall under the 60-day wait period. And this is going to occur on January 1st of each year. January 1st of each year going forward. And it applies to tests that are taken at a test center, not through OP. So the example now is that even if there was a tester who took the math 3 times in 2016 and failed, and then decided to take that math test again this year and did not pass, instead of having to wait 60 more days to take that math test again, the student has 2 more attempts to pass math before that 60-day wait period is imposed. So, and just so you know, this came about because there were so many educators that reached out to us and asked us to consider changing this policy. Moving along, I wanted to let you know about our GED blog. You might have discovered it. It's one of the main options when you go to GED.com across the top middle of the screen. So this was introduced last year. Here are the different topics and categories that you can choose from. Let's say if you clicked on math, here are some of the articles that you would have access to. There are more articles for math, but I'm just showing you some of them here. And if you were to click on RLA, here are a couple that show up. But again, there are more articles than what I'm showing you here. We've also updated the FAQs. And for those who don't know, the FAQs have always been featured on our website, GED.com, towards the very bottom of the website. And when I say that we've updated the FAQs, we have added a few more categories, and we've also added some more questions within each of those categories. It's pretty simple to, access the FAQs, to review them. Once you click on a category and you click on a question, or you click on that plus sign that's to the right of that question, then you will see the answer to that question. And I did want to briefly talk about the in-session newsletter. And you might be saying, well, Melissa, I know about the in-session newsletter. This isn't new. Why is it part of updates? I'm getting to that. So in-session newsletter is the best way for you to get updates, latest news from GED. There's no need to pay for it. If you go to our educator portal and scroll all the way down to the bottom and click on this blue button, we would then just ask for you to enter your email address, and we would send you the newsletter once a month. Usually it's the second Wednesday of each month. So again, you go down to the very bottom of the educator portal, click on this button, and then enter your email address. I wanted to let you know that these are the most recent webinars that we've delivered. And if you have, if you sign up for the in-session newsletter, one of the articles or pieces of information that you would see in that in-session newsletter is information about the next Tuesdays for Teachers webinar. And that's part of a free professional development series that we offer to educators. So in the in-session newsletter, we state the title of the next Tuesdays for Teachers webinar, the date and time of the live presentation, the names of the presenters, and a brief description of the information that they're going to cover. Also in the in-session newsletter, we provide a link to the most recent Tuesdays for Teachers webinar. And if you were to click on that, then basically this is what you would see. The most recent webinars, you have access to the recording at your convenience. You can download certificates, and you have access to the resources that the presenters made available. The update here is that you can go and find those webinars for the last 2 years in the educator portal of our website, but you could also go on YouTube and search for GED Testing Service Tuesdays for Teachers, and you'll see the webinars for the last 2 years here as well. And if you go on YouTube, you not only have access to the webinars, but you have access to the resources that the presenters made available as well. Also, I wanted to let you know about our program Printable Flyers that are available to you through the Educator portal in the Print Hub. So you can now download these flyers to print and distribute on your own. These PDF files are available in English and Spanish. The front of the flyers are customizable to include your program contact information. So this is something that we've had available for more than a year now. I want to say it's about a year and a half, but I know that our marketing team has added additional templates. So here, for example, is one of the templates that you could choose from. And then all you would need to do is go down to the bottom and type the information for your center here. So your center's name, the address, the hours of operation, phone number, email address, that sort of thing. To access the template, you would need to get to GED Print Hub, which you can access by going to this link. It's within our educator portal. It's free to create an account, but you do need to create an account. And once you're in there, you will see other brochures, posters, pamphlets that we have available for you to order if you'd like. I mentioned that we updated the FAQs on our website. I know one of the FAQs that's most frequently looked at is the GED Ready one. And so here's a look at that updated FAQ for you, and the link is here if you wanted to access that in the near future. And when it comes to voucher purchase updates, I think it's really important to understand our plan going forward. So we will be retiring from using the View Voucher Store later this year, and that's due to Internet Explorer software changes. So instead, we'd like to encourage you to make your voucher purchases on GED Marketplace or on GED Manager on that homepage. So what we've done is we've added checks, we've added ACH payment methods to the existing credit card and credit terms payment options. As with credit terms, you'll need to be logged into your Marketplace account and meet a minimum order amount to take advantage of paying via PO process. And GED Ready and Test vouchers are available on Marketplace now, and more will be coming later this month. And now what I'm going to do is move into the last section of this presentation, where I'm going to focus specifically on GED Direct, which is formerly known as GED Ready Direct. So GED Ready Direct is what we had introduced and piloted about 2 years ago. And thank you to, there were so many people, so many educators in Minnesota that were part of that pilot and gave us excellent feedback on how to refine this program. Sorry, not this program, but this technology, really. So the reason we started working on GED Ready Direct, the reason that came about is because there were a few different problems to solve. So the GED Ready voucher code spreadsheets were an administrative headache. They were difficult to maintain. The expiring vouchers just compounded the headache because educators, coordinators, directors had to keep track of the vouchers that were purchased, when they were going to expire, and then also try to manage when they were going to reach out to us to get them extended or renewed. And it was just difficult to distribute to, you know, the more educators you have to distribute to, the more difficult it can be. And then it also gets to be a problem, difficult to share those codes then with students via email. So several different problems there, which were brought up many times to us. And then that's when we started working on a solution, which we then called GED Ready Direct. But that's now called GED Direct. So what we did is we enhanced GED Manager to allow educators to purchase GED Ready Tests. That was when we started piloting it 2 years ago, and assign them directly to students. And so you heard about the problems that I just mentioned. The benefits were that now students can access GED Ready Tests directly from their GED account once they're assigned. No need for spreadsheets or voucher codes to manage, because if you purchase vouchers this way, they don't expire. So there's no need to reach out and ask for them to be extended or renewed. This was so successful that we, last month in July, added GED Tests, OP GED Tests, as well as CBT tests. So I just wanted to walk through what this looks like for you if you haven't seen it. So now when you're in GED Manager, the GED Direct dashboard looks like this. There's 3 different sections, one for GED Ready practice tests, one for in-person GED tests, one for online proctored GED tests. And within each of these sections, you can see there's an unassigned, assigned, and used section. And down near the bottom of the screen, you see the buttons for Buy, Manage Assignments, and Share. So let's say you click on Buy. This would automatically take you to our e-commerce site to establish your account. And then you're going to see the 3 different offerings: the online proctor test, the in-person GED test, the GED Ready. You would make a selection, and then you'd have to decide on a quantity. And as you can see, the more you buy, the cheaper it is when it comes to unit price. So you'd make a selection, and then the system will take you through the purchase flow. So after selecting the quantity, you get to this checkout section. You have to update your contact. You might have to update your contact information because it does default to a Bloomington, Minnesota address, which is our GED, address. So you'd have to update it to your address. And then you would enter the payment information. And then there are 3 methods of payment. So there's credit card, there's check ACH, and there's Pearson VUE line of credit. But there is a note about taxes that you should be aware of. So legally, we are required to charge sales tax on all study material prep product purchases. So if your organization is tax exempt, you can have this status applied to your account. Next, after you make the purchase, that means that you can then assign the tests to students. So again, on the screen, you see the 3 different types of tests, right, across the middle here, and then you see that assign button. So once you click on assign, then this assign test pop-up box allows you to find the student. Last name search is default, but that can be changed. So as soon as you start entering the first few letters of the last name, then the matches will appear. Then after you selected the student, you need to select the test that you want to assign to them. Is it a GED Ready practice test that you want to assign to them? Is it an in-person test? Is it an online proctor test? You make the selection and then you click continue. After you do that, then you need to indicate which subject you want to assign to the tester. So in this case, we've selected language arts, and then you click assign. Now that means that the dashboard on GED Manager has been updated, and also this in the student's account, that homepage of their account will be updated with an activity card telling them that they now have in this case, a language arts in-person test assigned. There's a link there that will launch the GED Ready test for them. And once that student launches the GED Ready test, the used field over here is going to show 1, and the status field down here is going to show in progress. Here's what that activity card in the student account will look like. So when they log in, they're going to see something like this, that a GED, in this case, a GED Ready subject has been assigned to them, and they just need to click on access to launch the test. And when assigning a test, the student will also be able to schedule the test from the activity card, and they will be able to choose the language. So when it comes to an OP, like whatever the 3 tests it is, they have the ability to select their language. You don't have to make that selection for them. You can unassign tests. So if the student has not launched the GED Ready test or scheduled their GED test, it can be unassigned. It could go back into that pool of available tests. All you need to do is just click unassign over here, and then you can use that towards somebody else. Now, when it comes to sharing the GED tests, you can share access to your purchase test with other educators that are within your program at the same location. So each educator then would have access to all purchase tests for assignment to student. Then you would, your group dashboard would look something like this. So once you're part of a group, your dashboard is going to show the total number of unassigned tests. In this case, there's 7 belonging to that group. It's also going to show you the number of tests that you specifically have assigned. And so in this instance, it's telling me that I have assigned 3 tests, and then the number of tests that your students have used, which in this case right now is showing up as 0. In the My Assigned Tasks section, you have the Manage Assignments. You can choose your email address in the Assigned By field. You can click Apply Search Filters. So you can now see tasks that you've assigned and the status of those tasks. You have a variety of different ways to filter that information. We've updated the FAQs for GED Direct. It is available within your GED Manager account on the homepage, but you could also go to this link and access it here as well. Now, when it comes to vouchers that have been purchased through other means, so not through GED Manager, if they have recently expired, if they're about to expire, and when I say about to expire, if they're going to expire even within the next 2 or 3 months, if you could just get me a list, a spreadsheet with all of those voucher codes and send that my way, and then I will ask our voucher team to renew those vouchers or extend them for you. And you see my email address here on the screen, but you'll see it on a different slide here shortly. And that is the end of my review of slides. And I will take a look at the questions and start answering them. Just 1 second. Okay, so I think I have to stop the video in order to see the question. So just 1 second.
Melissa, this is Brandy.
Oh, hi, Brandy.
I've been watching the questions for you as well. So one question that pertains to everybody, Sherry asked, what about that MNGED 10 code for the subsidy? How do they go about purchasing that as through the direct?
Oh, so for that though, you don't have to purchase that. You just have to enter that code, right? When for any test taker that's taking their first, you're scheduling their first attempt in a given subject.
Correct. So if they're purchasing those test vouchers, do they put that code in and it takes off the code, or is that something that the individual test taker has to put that code in?
I believe the individual test taker has to put that code in, but I'm going to check on that.
Yeah, so if you have a consortium that's purchasing GED test vouchers up ahead, that subsidy question needs to be answered. Thanks, Sherry, for bringing that to our attention.
Yes, thank you.
I had a question about what happens if a voucher gets assigned to a student's wrong account, because we see students with multiple accounts.
Right.
And can you unassign and pull that back, or is it lost forever?
Yeah, so through the GED Direct, you can unassign it. I mean, there's several reasons why anybody might want to unassign. So maybe the student has just decided, like in this particular time, that life has gotten so busy that they just can't devote time to working towards their GED, or somebody just like no longer shows up to a prep center without any sort of notice or anything like that, and multiple attempts have been made to communicate with them. So it's very easy to just like click on unassign, put that back in the pool, and use it for somebody else.
Fantastic. Sherry and Laura also asked, is the OP retake fee still full price cost?
Okay, sorry, say that one more time.
Laura and Malad, if you want to chime in too, is the OP retake fee still full price cost?
I have to check on that. I don't know. I'm just writing that down. So, great question. Thank you. I will look into that. And I have access to the chat too, so I'll be able to get back to individual people who have asked questions that I can't answer right now. What other questions do we have?
Thanks so much, Melissa.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Oh, GED print hub link. Can I put it there? Yes, just let me grab that for you.
We already shared that out, Melissa. So
oh, you did? Okay, perfect. Perfect. Oh, so is there a time frame for them to take the test once it's assigned to them? no. If you're assigning a voucher through that GED Direct, no, there isn't a time frame for that. Jean, I as the teacher do not have purchasing power. If the secretary purchased them, how do I as the teacher assign them? So I think what we have to do in that case then is make sure that whoever is purchasing also has a GED manager account, so that then once the purchase is made, they just share with the group of educators at their location. But I can double check on that for you too. And Rob, it is correct that I do get access to the chat here, right? So I'll be able to see all these questions. Is that correct?
Yep, you can download the chat.
Perfect. Okay. Okay. Yeah, and then Brandy, yeah, what about students with multiple accounts? If it's assigned to the wrong account, can someone pull that voucher back? Definitely. Yep. And then and let's say that the accounts were then merged. So I have two accounts, a voucher is in one, it's not in the other, and then the accounts are merged. It's still going to show up in that remaining account if a merge does, take place, but still to be able to pull that voucher back if need be. Heidi, can you elaborate on what happens to voucher codes on the spreadsheets?
Sure, I'm fairly new to this whole process, but we have like a spreadsheet of codes. So when a student takes their practice test, we give them the code. So I was wondering what happens then to those codes, or do we just use those up first before we purchase through GED Ready?
Yeah, I would suggest that they've been paid for, you should use them. The one thing to do though is keep track or have an idea as to when those codes expire, or maybe some have already expired. And if some have already expired, but they weren't used, don't worry about it. Just reach out to me and say, Melissa, these are the codes that we have that are expired but haven't been used. I will get those renewed for you. And if you have voucher codes that are going to expire in the next 3 months, let's say, I would ask you to send me an email with those voucher codes, and then we will get that date extended for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Melissa, where would anyone want to find information on how to create this group feature? Is there a tutorial, or do they need to reach out specifically to someone to get a little bit of elaboration on how to create that?
The group feature for purchasing GED, like direct through GED Manager, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I see a couple of individuals stating that they don't have access to the purchasing for their vouchers or for any type of test. And so how do they go about getting into that group feature of the account so then they can start to assign to their students?
Yeah, so I'm going to look into that, see what's the easiest way to do it, and then I'll reach out to them with that. But then Brandy, I'll also provide your office with that information in case any questions come, your way, from the field. So as soon as I find out, I'll let you know, but then I'll also reach out to those who have asked about it here in the chat.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I'm putting in the chat that people can always contact us at that MDE email for additional GED information. Right.
And you can see my email here, like on the screen as well. The one thing I will say about GED Direct that we're working on is because, we have had some consortiums reach out in June or July saying that, well, we would actually like to do like a huge group purchase and then share it amongst our different sites. how do we do that right now? That functionality isn't available yet. Our tech and dev teams are working on that. So right now, in terms of group sharing, it can only be done for all GED Manager users at the same site. So not with your partner sites yet, but that is coming. And that functionality should be available in the fall around October, is what I'm told. I hope that makes sense what I just said there, but I can say that again if need be. Let's see. Teachers to the group that can assign GED ready will probably. Yeah. And I think, Vicki, what you're asking when it says, Teresa, can we still make an educator's account? I think you're asking like in terms of anybody that wants access to GED Manager that doesn't have that access. I mean, those requests, we at GED would set up the account as soon as we have the approval from Brandy that we could go ahead and set up a GED Manager account for you. And Heather seems like a pro at this, fairly simple. You can add the email of teachers with GED Manager accounts. Thanks for your input there. Mark from Dakota Prairie. Hi, Mark. If we extend our old vouchers that we now have, will they not expire after that? Yes, that is true. Yep, those vouchers are paid for. Like, we're going to help you, you know, with that. So yes, they will not expire. Do students have to choose us as their prep site in order for all of this to work? I struggle getting our students to do this. Do students have to choose us as their prep site? Yeah, I mean, you would have to be able to access their account to assign, whether it's the OP test, CBT test, the GED Ready test. Sorry, can we get multiple teachers at multiple sites? Yeah, that is true. Yes, Teresa. So, yeah, so you have multiple teachers at multiple sites. And yes, GED does not have that multiple sharing capability yet. So you cannot buy the vouchers and assign them to teachers at several different sites. Right now, the functionality that exists is you make the purchase and all teachers at that one site can share, but you can't share it with multiple sites yet. That's coming in the fall. I hope I didn't miss any questions here. If I did, just ping me and let me know. Any other questions that you have?
Linda has her hand up.
Oh, sure. Hi, Linda.
Hey, Melissa, how are you?
I'm great.
Hey, I just was going to share. I looked at Leanne. I believe her name is Leanne. Yep, Leanne's question. Metro North staff did a Google slide doc that guides students through how to share for your agency. And if that's something that anybody's interested in, I can share it with Melissa, and then you can just customize it towards your own program, because that way then students know the steps that they have to take in their GED.com account in order to make that happen, so you can see them. So
perfect. Thank you for saying that. And Chelsea, I see your questions here, but I just want to let you know that because you're part of corrections, this GED Direct functionality actually is not set up for corrections. And I should have said that earlier, so I apologize. That's strictly a feature for public testers. Any other questions? No. Well, I'm sure some are going to come up, so please feel free to reach out to me, and I have my to-do list of things to look into. I will check the chat transcript and reach out to those of you with questions that have not been answered yet, and I will also provide Brandy with the answers to those questions in case anybody reaches out to her office. So Thank you so much for joining the session. I really, really appreciate it. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the summer.